Welcome to CommSpark. My name is Bryan Hogan. I'm your guest host today. Today we're here with Andy Craig, Vice President and Chief Innovation Officer at Maple Knoll Communities. It's great for you to be here today, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I understand that over the last year, you guys have rolled out a pretty innovative application to your residents.
Yeah, we have. So, our residents typically are over the age of 65, and we have some young ones that are 55, but generally it's 65 to 105. And
Wow.
we've rolled out a app for their mobile devices and computers, tablets, phones, things like that. It's pretty high demand from them. It surprises a lot of people. We've seen some other organizations that have tried to do the same thing and haven't been successful. So we kind of first dug into why those endeavors weren't successful. We found out that typically in those organizations, the residents weren't involved in the beginning. They were delivered an app and said, here you go, hope you enjoy it. So we actually took a different approach, and before we developed anything or selected platforms, we met with our residents and asked what their needs are. What type of content and functionality they'd like to see, and we involved them every step of the way. They had a beta test group that worked with us on a weekly basis after we had multiple meetings about content that would be in the application and different functionality, and they helped us test it and followed it through to completion, and it's been wildly successful.
Fantastic. So high adoption rate.
Yes,
excited users.
Yeah, very high adoption rate, and as a result, we've seen sales within our organization for tablets and devices like that go up as well. So even those people that weren't interested in the beginning with technology or seeing their neighbors engage in the community through the app, we find there's a different dynamic amongst the older folks that live in our community, whereas social media is known to kind of keep people separate and disengaged in our community. We find that within our app, which does have a social element to it, it actually brings people together.
Wow, what a fantastic success. That's great. So as an IT leader in your organization, how are you working with other leaders within your organization to help move the business forward?
So we do a lot of different things so that it's not IT heavy specifically. When we have discussions about what type of business problems do we encounter, what type of solutions do we need? We don't start with technology. We don't start with innovation. We kind of start with defining the problem. Instead of throwing technology in front of them in the beginning to kind of fit their problem, we try to get a better understanding of what the needs are, what the problem is, what a good solution might look like, and then try to develop or bring technology in that would fit that. We find that when you lead with technology, it usually doesn't lead to the right outcomes,
right.
Whereas when you lead with ideas and discussions, that usually delivers technology through that process that delivers the best outcomes at the end.
Got it. So rather than the hammer when everything looks like the nail, you sit back and listen and understand what the issue is and figure out how to help.
Yeah.
How is your organization embracing mobility in the business?
So we find that mobility is kind of crucial to our success, more so now than ever. Residents and clients, you have to be able to meet their needs where they are and where you are when you encounter them. So traditional models, usually would call for office visits. If it's a medical issue or if it's a billing issue, it may call for a visit into accounting and finance, those types of things. The traditional model is no longer where residents want to be met. They want to be able to walk up to you in passing and get an answer or put in some sort of request. And so all of our staff have to be equipped with mobile devices, and they are. So it doesn't matter if you're putting in a work order or a request for Wi-Fi, or if we're talking about electronic medical records. These things are really important to have that information on hand for the staff, secure obviously, but to be able to service the needs of the residents on demand instead of having to create any unnecessary wait time to get a response. So we've invested heavily in mobile technologies and security to wrap those technologies up so that our staff can be best equipped to answer questions, solve problems, and other things of that nature to make sure our residents are served.
That's great. So not only do your residents get a greater experience, right? Because they're going to have somewhat of more of a immediate response, or at least to acknowledge the issue. That also empowers your staff, right? Because they want to help the residents, and now you're equipping them to actually take action sooner.
Yeah, it makes our staff more effective and efficient, and it just provides a better experience for the resident, so, which is our customer. So it provides them with the best experience for their stay at Maple Knoll.
Wow, that's great. So to wrap up, so how is your organization really embracing digital transformation for the business?
For us, digital transformation really has started with creating a culture of innovation. And a lot of times people consider innovation to be synonymous with technology, and that's not necessarily the case. We believe that innovation starts with ideas. So trying to create an open dialogue, both within our staff and within our residents as well, and get everyone actively engaged in building this culture of innovation, bringing ideas to the table, and defining specifically outcomes that are necessary to provide the best experience for residents, to provide the safest environment, to provide the best health care that we can provide as well. So starting with the ideas first, and then building upon those ideas to eventually adapt technology that promotes those ideas and allows us to accomplish the outcomes that we're seeking.
Well, that's great. So everybody signed up for innovation.
Yes,
Got it. It's
absolutely.
just not your responsibility.
Correct, correct. And it couldn't be, but everyone buys in because everyone's involved from the beginning of these processes. So it's not just staff, it's not just residents, it's everyone that comes together from various levels of employment and from various different backgrounds within our residential community.
That's great. So everybody is engaged.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time and thoughts today. We so appreciate it. If you have additional questions or would like to learn more about CommSpark or Andy, visit us at commspark.tech. Thank you.
Thank you.